So welcome to this video about joy with spirit. Now, if you've been doing mediumship for a while and you find that the joy has gone out of your mediumship, there could be many reasons for it. You may be actually finding that you're trying to connect to the spirit world and it just seems more difficult and this sort of thing, and all these sort of things are going on within your development. And it's very common. I've spoken to many students, and many students have really said that they found that the joy is going out of it, or it's becoming difficult, or it's becoming so much work. And I find a lot of students go through this process where the joy goes out of their mediumship and goes out of that connection with the spirit world. So this video I decided to put on because it happened to come again in one of my mentorship programs I was giving. And there were a couple of students there where they just felt that they're doing a lot of work to try and get the evidence, to try and get their mediumship right, to try and get all these things right, but the joy went out of it. And truth be told, the joy is the ignition to the best evidence you can get from the spirit world. And the joy is that ignition of that power and inspiration that the spirit world can bring. So that's what the joy can do. But yeah, these students were having problems. The joy had gone out, and it can leave your mediumship for many reasons. Some of the reasons that it can leave your mediumship can be quite simple. You're very stressed at work, or you're stressed with the family. Work's taking a lot of your time. So then the joy ends up leaving. And that can be, something that's going on in your life. And when something like that's going on in your life, and you're becoming very serious because of work, then that can have an effect on your mediumship. Or even if you've got with your relationship or family life, if that's got a lot of stress and stuff going on with it as well, that can also take the joy out of things, and then that's it. But when you have the joy in your mediumship, that's when you can really fly as a medium, and that's when you can really excel in your mediumship. For the joy, like I said, it's like that propeller of ignition of power and energy that propels your mediumship to the next level. It's also that power and ignition of energy that connects you to the spirit world a lot stronger. And that's the joy. And that's what the joy does in mediumship. So think about how your mediumship, think about all the things that you do. Have you been spending a lot of time trying to get the evidence right, trying to get it all in line, trying to get all this evidence that, I need to have this evidence right, I need to have the feelings right, I need to have this right, and you've been trying to put your mediumship into a box that works like other mediums have been teaching you. And so what you'll find is you'll get to a point where a lot of students have been experiencing that, and then suddenly they think, the joy's gone out. But I said, why has the joy gone out? I wasn't getting the evidence right, and I wasn't getting this right, and I wasn't getting that right. And it's because they were trying too hard to be good at mediumship instead of experiencing the joy of mediumship. And that's the ignition part, right? When we experience the joy of mediumship, that's when things propel us to the next level. That's when the information comes through, and someone may ask you, like, how did you get that information? I don't know. That just came out of nowhere. Some of the best demonstrations that I've done, I've been in the joy of spirit. I wasn't even aware of myself. I wasn't even aware of the public. All I was aware of was the experience and excitement with the spirit world. And when you have that experience and excitement with the spirit world, that's when you're walking on the clouds, and you're like, that everything's amazing, and it just works. So whatever holds you back to take your joy out of your mediumship, whether it's the way that you've been taught, or whether it's the way that your mediumship's working, that you're criticizing yourself about the evidence, criticizing yourself about how it's working, or you just feel that you should be better, or the other people are seeing more, or the other people are feeling more, or the other people are actually experiencing more with their mediumship. Whenever you look at someone else's mediumship and you then compare yourself to it, you're taking the joy out of yours. For the experience that you have with the spirit world is so unique. It's so unique because it's you. And when we think about that joy, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about it, when we think about that joy with the mediumship, that's like just thinking, wow, the spirit world chose you to actually have this experience with them. The spirit world chose you to be this ambassador for spirit, even if it was for a moment, even if it was for a day, even if it was for just a year. But the moment that you were connected to the spirit world, you were doing mediumship, you were totally in the flow, connected to spirit, bringing through spirit messages and being the ambassador for spirit. And that is joy. So good afternoon to those of you that it's afternoon, good evening and good night to those that are joining from different countries. But think about this. What was it that in your life that ignited you to want to step into mediumship? What was that passion? There must have been something that happened. It must have been a dream, or it must have been that spirits showed themselves to you, or you had a feeling, and it was like that feeling from the Black Eyed Peas, that song, I've Got a Feeling, that sort of feeling of like, it's going to be a good night, or it's going to be a good, and I played that song before I did a demonstration of mediumship with a colleague of mine, and we played it before we went on because we were like so excited to connect to spirit and see what they bring. And that excitement and joy ignited the demonstration because we were excited when we arrived. We were excited to connect to spirit. And when we connected with that energy of that song, it was just we had an amazing evening, and we had an amazing evening of mediumship. And that's what the joy can do, because you really ignite yourself into that frequency that you can experience with the spirit world in such a way. It's amazing. It's amazing. So whenever you feel that the joy is going out of your mediumship, whether it's you're putting too much pressure on yourself, you're trying to get your evidence right, you think that you should be better, you've been comparing yourself to other people, you've been comparing yourself to other mediums, maybe people that you see on television, or maybe you see people demonstrating and think, oh, I'm never going to be as good as that. Whenever you look at someone else and you see them as being better than you, then you're really taking away that energy and joy in your soul, in your spirit. And what I'm trying to say, guys, is nourish what you've got. If you're someone that's only clairsentient, like put that clairsentience on a pedestal and celebrate it and say, I am clairsentient. Use it. Some people might call you oversensitive. I'm oversensitive. That's fantastic. Just celebrate it. The reason is it's your greatest gift. And the same with the people that are seeing, they say, I see pictures, but I don't feel as much. Well, celebrate the pictures. Celebrate how your mediumship is unique to you, and celebrate how your mediumship is unique to anybody else's mediumship. And in that way, you'll find in your own celebration of your spiritual growth as a medium and in your spiritual transition as a human being, you'll find that you'll just be like really just igniting the joy of what happens. Now, a lot of us put pressure on ourselves and we say, putting pressure on ourselves takes away the joy. It's quite easy, because when you put pressure on yourself, you activate stress hormones in your brain. The stress hormones have an effect on your body, which makes you feel less happy, right? But when you're excited and when you ignite that excitement and joy in you, it makes happy hormones in your brain, makes you happy, and then that's the ignition of how the spirit can join you. And that's the amazing thing. Our bodies and the chemicals in our bodies are what the spirit world can use. So whatever you're going through in your life, whatever sort of person you are, and however your mind works, is perfect to the spirit world. They can use you exactly the way you are. So what I'd like to say to you all, get the joy back into your life. If it is because you've been doing so much work and you're feeling stressed, then it may be that the spirit world is saying to you, it's time to take time out so that you can spend time on yourself, sitting in the power, meditating, spending time in nature, to get the joy back in your life before you move on with the mediumship. There will be people here that are having stress at their work, or having stress, family problems or stuff like that. The spirit world normally, 99% of the time, they want you to work on that first, to make sure you've got your joy back in your life. Because when your joy's back in your life, your joy's back in your mediumship. And when your joy's back in your mediumship, it's ignited within every contact you bring through from the spirit world. You've got to imagine connecting to the spirit world is like Christmas Day. Like, you can have all these presents under the tree, and whether you celebrate Christmas like I do and you've got presents, and all you want to know is, I want to know what's in the presents, but I don't know. And because you don't know what's in those presents, that's what makes it so exciting. So with the spirit world, when we connect to the spirit world and you've got stress about connecting to the spirit world, you're going to dull the moment. But if you're excited for whatever the spirit world's going to bring through, wow, imagine how that is going to fly through your mediumship, because that will open doors to an expansion of joy and to an expansion of loving energy, that you can be the ambassador for the spirit world and bring through some amazing evidence and amazing essence. Because it's not just about the evidence in mediumship, it's also about the essence of spirit. So if you can feel the spirit and you can have your evidence, and you can have a sort of like combination of all, and you're not, while you're working, looking at your work and saying, this could be better, that could be better, I saw this top medium doing it better, so I should be doing it better. Don't let your brain interfere with the joy of your connection to the spirit world. Hi to those that are writing hi to me. It's lovely to have you with me, and it's lovely to share this knowledge with you. But what I found, I've done a lot of demonstrations in my time. I've done a lot of private sittings in my time. Whenever I've had the joy not there, there's always been something I've had to do in my life. And it may have been taking time out. It may have been a holiday that needed. It may have been working on the family situation. It may have been working on a work situation to regain that joy. And the joy can go out for many other reasons as well. And it's not got anything to do with the spirit world. It could be to do with spiritual groups, spiritual leaders, or spiritual things that have been going on. And suddenly you find that it's not been resonating with you, or you may feel that you've been in certain groups working, trying to work as a student medium, and it's not been resonating with you, and then or you feel that somebody's been blocking you or something like that. All these things can happen that can nudge our sensitivity. And when our net sensitivity gets nudged, it's one thing to remember is the spirit world know you and your mediumship, and they know that you are unique. And they are so happy that you do the work that you do for them. And like I said, if you do this work for a day, a week, a year, 25 years, it doesn't matter. For the moment that you do this work, you can experience the joy and you can experience the healing that you can bring to people. So remember, what ignited your mediumship in the beginning when you started? Was it a dream? Was it the spirit world let you feel something? Was it that the spirit world showed themselves to you? Was it a synchronicity that brought you into this? All I know that everyone that steps down the pathway of mediumship, their spirit and soul has been ignited to walk this pathway. So trust in that and believe in you and believe in your uniqueness and enjoy the joy of spirit, and be like Christmas Day when you open up those presents and you're like, oh, just that new connection to spirit. You never know what they're going to bring, and just let yourself enjoy the spirit. And this is what I like to do in my mediumship mentorships that I do with people. And this is what I do for people in many different situations in groups, is I remind them of the joy of spirit of who they are, and I remind them of their uniqueness. So I hope this video reaches you in such good spirits, and I really hope it ignites you to go forward and maybe do that class, or maybe jump in and do something else for spirit, or believe in what you've got to do in your pathway. Because if you do that, that makes me happy. Okay, wish you a fantastic day, and thank you for being here, and it's my pleasure to share. Thank you.